Hey folks, with the next World of Warcraft expansion having been announced today, I'd imagine that many of you are looking to give Shadowlands a shot and attempt to catch up. Although I can't believe I'm actually saying this, it's probably one of the best times in recent years to return to World of Warcraft. The dev team has been incredibly responsive, the upcoming content is really exciting, and most importantly, the current raid tier, which we'll likely be stuck with for a while, is one of the best that they've made in a long time. However, I understand that the process of getting from a fresh level 60 character to an organized raiding scenario can be fairly challenging for both new and returning players alike. In this video, I'm going to go through every step that you'll need to take in order to get caught up in Shadowlands' endgame content. Before I dive into the video though, I do want to quickly note that since my starting point for this will be a fresh level 60 character, I won't be covering the leveling process at all. If you have yet to finish leveling your character, I have guides on my channel which cover the entire process from 1 to 60, and you can find links to those in the description. As a brand new level 60 character in Shadowlands, the first major choice you'll be presented with is which covenant you wish to join. The game makes this decision sound incredibly important, but in reality it doesn't matter too much which covenant you actually pick. Technically speaking, one covenant will end up being the best choice for your specialization, and if you really want to find out what that is, you could probably just get that information with a quick Google search. With that being said, it's extremely easy to swap between covenants at this point, so the decision doesn't hold nearly as much weight as it once did towards the beginning of the expansion. I'd personally recommend just starting off with a covenant that you believe looks cool, and then if you change your mind later, it shouldn't be a problem. Once you've selected your covenant, the game will open up and bombard you with a ton of different systems and quests. However, most of this stuff can be safely ignored. At this point, you have only two main goals: increase your renown level with your chosen covenant, and obtain better equipment. For returning players, there's a token you can purchase near the Flightmaster in Oribos which immediately bumps you up to 40 renown. As for new players, you'll need to reach renown 80 on at least one character before this token becomes available. In order to efficiently begin farming renown and gear, I'd recommend starting the patch 9.2 campaign. You can do this by following the quest Call of the Primus, which should have automatically appeared in your quest log. If you don't have this quest, I'd recommend logging out and then logging back in, and that should hopefully fix the issue. This questline will grant you a decent amount of renown and catch-up gear, so I'd recommend following along with it until you've reached the quest News from Oribos. At this point, a vendor in the town of Haven will be unlocked, allowing you to buy 226 item level gear for 500 anima apiece. As a returning player, you can use any leftover anima on your mains to buy this gear for your alts. For new players, I'd recommend taking a break from the campaign at this point in order to farm some anima, which can be obtained through various activities across the Shadowlands, but primarily through completing world quests. Before you do this, make sure to stop by your Covenant Sanctum and pick up the Calling quests, as you can easily complete them at the same time, allowing you to gain bonus renown and potential item drops. This process might take you a bit of time, but between the anima vendor and the natural rewards that you'll receive from completing these quests, you should eventually reach 226 item level. At this stage, your primary objective should be to reach the maximum renown rank of 80, as a lot of your character's power is going to be locked behind that. Generally speaking, out of all of the repeatable sources, Torghast is the best way to actually farm renown, and I would recommend running this until you've reached 55 renown. Although Torghast is still a viable farming method from this point onwards, there's many sources of guaranteed renown which should allow you to easily reach rank 80. Before you do anything else, I'd recommend returning to Zereth Mortis and purchasing the item Font of Ephemeral Power off the Enlightened Quartermaster. It only requires friendly reputation with the Enlightened faction and around 500 gold to obtain, both of which you should definitely have by this point in time. Once you have this item, you can walk over to the Forge of Bonds nearby and then right-click the Font of Ephemeral Power, which will upgrade all of your conduits to 226 item level. If you still don't know what a conduit actually is, the simple explanation is that it's just another system which you'll want to Google and find the mathematically best option for. It's not terribly interesting, but it's just one more thing that's required to progress your character. Since you're already back in Zereth Mortis at this point, I'd recommend continuing along with the campaign from where you left off. The process of finishing the entire Zereth Mortis campaign only takes a few hours, and by the end you'll be at nearly 80 renown and you should have gotten a few extra pieces of gear. Additionally, at the very end of the campaign, you'll obtain the free Unity Legendary, which grants you a powerful upgrade to your Covenant ability. When I tested this entire process with one of my alts, I had reached roughly 235 item level at this point, and I had also reached renown 80 with my chosen covenant. This is honestly a fairly solid point to be at, and you have many different options from here. If you're a brand new player, I'd recommend just working on your Covenants campaign, as that'll allow you to unlock all of your Soulbinds. I won't bother explaining this system in much detail since, once again, you can pretty much just Google it and mathematically find the best option for your spec. That said, it is ultimately an important aspect of your character which you do need to keep in mind, so I'd say it's worth spending the time required in order to make sure you have all 3 Soulbinds unlocked. Generally speaking, I don't like to mention purchasing anything off the auction house, as I feel like it's better to earn most of your gear for yourself. However, patch 9.2 has introduced a new item which allows each player to obtain and equip a single piece of 262 item level gear, and this is something which I have done on all of my characters. Though I won't encourage anybody to buy crafted gear beyond this point, the cheap cost of these 262 pieces make them absolutely worth buying, even if you're a new player. In case you want to try crafting a 262 piece for yourself, rather than buying it off the auction house, you can check out my video on the subject, which is linked in the description. Another quick thing you can do at this point in order to get 246 item level rings, trinkets, and a necklace is to open the secret treasure room in Zereth Mortis. If you're interested in learning more about that, you should check out my video titled The Secret Treasure Room of Zereth Mortis, which you can find linked in the description. At this point, you should also be far past the item level required in order to queue for LFR, and I'd recommend completing every single wing available, as there's a good chance you'll receive a few upgrades. You might also want to begin running Mythic Dungeons, which reward a base item level of 236, or Mythic Plus, which rewards an ever-increasing level of gear as you begin to tackle higher keys. Any raid bosses you kill or Mythic Plus dungeons you complete will grant you progress towards something called the Great Vault, which can be found here in Oribos. Every Tuesday morning on the weekly reset, the Great Vault will open, allowing you to select one piece of gear from a randomized pool. The item level of these rewards is determined based on the difficulty of the content that you've completed over the past week. From here, you're pretty much caught up to the average player in World of Warcraft, and now you have 2 main options. The first is to just continue working your way through pickup groups and relying on the weekly reset in order to further your character. This is a perfectly valid way of playing the game, and I know many people who are content with doing just this. That being said, if you really want to sink your teeth into raiding, which I personally believe is the most fun activity that World of Warcraft has to offer, then I would recommend looking for a raiding guild to join. I don't have any surefire recommendations as to how you'll accomplish this, as every guild has a different environment and a different set of expectations. However, by checking sites such as wowprogress.com, warcraftlogs.com, or even the World of Warcraft forums, you might be able to find a guild that's the perfect fit for you. I know many people can be hesitant to interact with strangers and socialize in the game, but I've always maintained that World of Warcraft is at its most fun when you're playing it with other people. Before I end the video, I want to quickly touch upon 2 major systems which I skipped over earlier, that being Shadowlands crafted legendaries and the recent addition of tier sets. Since both of these topics are extremely important and would take a lot of time to explain properly, I've already gone ahead and made standalone videos covering both of them. If you'd like to learn more about crafted legendaries, which can go up to 291 item level, I'd recommend checking out the video on the left. If you want to learn how to craft your own tier sets, which provide powerful bonuses for your class, you can check out the video on the right.